What's up, everybody? We are back with another long form content video. It looks like I got the camera exactly where I need it to be. Again, I'm hoping that this video will be a little bit shorter, but we're going to talk about the state of the Pokemon card market and then a little business update about how I'm going to start diversifying my content, not just about Pokemon, but you're also going to see some videos about how I approach selling Magic the Gathering cards. Because believe it or not, even though they are two collectible card games, they are totally different. Okay, I could start talking about it right now, but I'm gonna stay focused. The first part of this video is gonna be about the Pokemon card market. Okay, we've got some really big things happening. Some of the biggest names in the Pokemon hobby are staying extremely bullish. I'm thinking Nostalgianomics. Some of those really big investor YouTubers. I like to watch Retro as well. Retrospects, I should say, on Instagram, YouTube, does amazing podcast, and is also extremely bullish towards the market. However, you've got Rudy, right? Alpha Investments. Rudy's content may not be for everyone, but I do think that Rudy has been in the hobby for an extremely long amount of time. He's got what seems like amazing experience when it comes to not just the collectibles market, but just the financial market in general, which is his past and his experience. And so honestly, yes, he makes some crude jokes and all that's gonna rub you a certain way depending on whether or not you find that type of humor funny. It doesn't matter. Rudy's not for everyone, but if you're trying to start a business, you're trying to grow a business, or if you're trying to learn more about the hobby, investing, in the market, I do think that Rudy's videos are worth a watch from time to time, even if his content is not 100% for you. And I totally respect if it's not. But here's the deal. So you have some extremely bullish outlooks on the market. And while Rudy, who I would say is at the pinnacle of like investing talk and all of that, he's starting to say, hey, things are starting to look like we've kind of hit the peak and we may start to see things start to fall a little bit, which I think is so interesting because all of these people that we're talking about, I mentioned three names, right? Retrospects, I mentioned Nostalgianomics and Rudy Alpha Investments. All three of those people on different levels of influence, on different areas of the business completely, all three of them have been through multiple market cycles, which is what I like to look for with people I'm following and really paying attention to what they're saying right now. All of them have been through multiple market cycles. I think all of them are very conscious, aware, and very there's a word I can't think of, that's okay. I think their outlook on the market is very reasonable. But they're all saying slightly different things. And I personally am looking at what Rudy's last couple of videos are saying, and I think that we really do. If you're running a business, we need to start thinking about the potential of the market kind of correcting even further than it already has. Are we going to start seeing Pokemon Company print to demand? Because one thing that Rudy really calls out, and I've heard some other people talk about, is how Pokemon released their printing numbers for 2024, I believe, this last year, and they actually printed less. Which is crazy when you look at the market right now. You're like, oh my gosh, how could they print? I think it was 1 billion cards less than they did the previous year. How could that big of a company make such a mistake? But here's the deal. Pokemon Company is so massive that they're not making decisions today about tomorrow. They're making decisions today about months in advance of now, right? And so their decision to cut the print run was made way before the market took a turn upwards, okay? Their decision to do that was probably still at the end of Sword and Shield, or maybe right at the beginning of Scarlet and Violet. Of course, I'm just assuming here, these are just my opinions, but they likely saw the decline in demand and said to themselves, oh my gosh, like we've got to adjust. We've got to pivot our printing strategy, and they chose to print less. Well, that less printing doesn't take effect right away, right? There's a lag in all of these. A decision's made, and then time passes. The decision that was made is put into action, And then guess what? As soon as we started seeing less cars on the market, demand started surging again. And now we're in this predicament where they've printed less, but they've released a statement saying they're going to print more. So again, if you think about a large company, the time it takes to make a decision and then the time it takes to put that decision into action. Now, how long, it's kind of like we're playing this waiting game. Like, how long is it going to take for the Pokemon Company to actually start printing to demand? Because the moment that happens, there's going to be way more products that's either going to satiate the demand, which means that prices are going to come down because people can find their product readily available, or I think like the perfect storm would be one where demand is already naturally falling, like maybe what we're seeing now, or maybe it's just summer season. Match that declining demand with the surge in supply, and all of a sudden you're gonna see Destined Rivals boxes, X and Y boxes way below MSRP again. Which obviously all the investment people are saying, like, if that happens, if a doomsday event, which that's not really a doomsday event, if that perfect storm event happens, then that's the right time to start buying all these sets and to start creating a position for yourself. I personally, I'm not really huge on the investment talk. I do have a sealed collection that I'm holding on to, which, I will eventually sell that at some point in the future, but right now it's part of my collection. But as a business person, I'm not looking at, I want to spend $500, $1,000, $2,000 on some booster box cases. That's not where I'm at. I need to spend $500 to $2,000 on active inventory that I'm going to churn and make that into more money, so then I can reinvest it and churn so that I can grow my business. Okay. And so just so you know, like, investors' approaches versus a business's approach to the market are going to be completely different. And all of these three people, Rudy, Nostalgianomics, blah, 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 all three of them have definitely voiced that when the market is really surging like this, it's almost better to position yourself as a reseller if you're looking at the business side, the monetary side of the hobby, which I know not everyone is. And if you're watching this and you're a collector, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being part of my small community here and for following, subscribing, all that kind of stuff. Some people really dislike that community word, but I honestly think that if it can be used correctly, right? Obviously, I'm a business, right? I want to make money. But I can also be a business that cares about my followers and subscribers, and we can connect, and that can be a type of community, right? But I'm by no means going to say that I'm here like, I'm for the community and I'm doing all these things to sacrifice and try to help everyone. I want to help as many people as I can, but I also want to make money and make sure my business is profitable. So anyways, that's a little side rant. But yeah, when the market is really surging and really bullish, when booster boxes are over $200, pushing $300 a box, that may not be the best time if you're looking to jump in and invest. It may be a good time, though, to jump in and start selling off some of your excess cards so that you have extra money to collect more things, to talking to the collectors. Selling is not an evil thing in the hobby. People can do it in the wrong way, but it's not inherently evil. Or if you're trying to start a business, this can also be a really great time to do that. You could take a really easy approach and try to catch all the restocks and scalp products, or you could really start to, with the surge in popularity, with more eyes watching Pokemon content, you could take this opportunity to create YouTube presence, or create social media presence, a YouTube, start building over time, proving that you're reputable, proving that you care about the product, proving that you care about the cards. Rather than just these quick flip kind of scalper mentalities, which is that's the direction I'm trying to take, is trying to prove that I am reputable, that I'm going to be here for the long term. And yeah, that's what I'm building right now, right? But I'm not at a position where I can be like, I'm gonna deploy $2,000 to some booster box cases, and I'm just gonna throw them in the closet and forget about them. That's not where I'm at right now. Obviously, I would love to be there someday, and maybe I will be, but it's just not today. Okay, so that's the state of the market. Things are starting to correct. I've mentioned it in a couple of videos. I do believe that some of the newer sets are going to be below MSRP. Are we going to see $90 booster boxes again? I don't know. But I do think that we'll see booster boxes and product available for way cheaper than what we're seeing right now. And that's an amazing thing for everyone, okay? The only person that hurts is the scalper, and that's totally fine with me, honestly. So that's kind of the first part of this video, is the market is correcting, and you even have some really major players, aka Rudy Alpha Investments, and there's a ton of other people as well that are also saying the same thing about the market correcting and just being ready for a turn, because collectible markets are cyclical. They're cycles, right? They're circles. Cyclical in nature, okay? There's gonna be highs, there's gonna be lows. And what's crazy that everyone says is the hobby, when it's really hot and things are surging, that's when everybody rushes in. And that's when everybody's saying, oh man, we can't get product for as cheap as we need. This is terrible. What about the kids? And then as soon as the cycle turns to where it's not as expensive, that also is accompanied, it is partnered by a lack of demand. So all of a sudden people that were really excited or really upset that they couldn't get boxes, they're nowhere to be found because it's not as exciting anymore, so they fall off. Which is unfortunate, but it is really great for those that stay and can utilize that to either enhance their collections, their positions, or grow their businesses during that time as well. Okay, pivoting to the next part of this video. I know I said I was going to keep it short, and I will. I'll just talk a couple of minutes about the difference between Magic and Pokemon and what I've learned over the last really couple months of trying to get into selling Magic. Overview. Selling Magic has been absolutely amazing. I've made a lot of money off of the kind of positions and plays that I've made as a business. I've not really talked much about it, but on Instagram, you'll see me sharing stories of different cards that I'm selling. And what's really crazy, right, is in Magic, there is sometimes, I'm going to highlight that sometimes, right, bold it, underline it, italicize, sometimes. There are sometimes situations where you can buy sealed products, open it, and then sell it for more than what you bought it for. Now, that's not saying that you can run out to your GameStop or to your local card shop and buy a ton of Magic boxes and expect to make money. You have to buy at the right price. I say it all the time for bulk. Buying at the right price is one of the most important things as a business to make sure you can remain profitable. You have to know what sets are in demand, and to do that, you have to do a lot of research. And on top of that, you have to have an infrastructure and processes in place to where you can effectively list hundreds or thousands of cards at a time. But I have been extremely successful. I'm really looking forward to selling more Magic. And just recently, I got a really great deal on some Final Fantasy play boxes. And oh my gosh, I love Final Fantasy, y'all. The whole time I was opening those packs and just taking all the cards in, I wanted to keep all of them, and that's not great, right? One of the reasons why I love Magic is because I don't have this like super connection to the cards. With Pokemon, I have this nostalgia factor where it's like, oh man, this reminds me of my childhood. I love this card. I love that Pokemon. And so sometimes, especially when I got started selling, it was really hard for me to let go of certain things. I do have a personal collection, things I'm not willing to let go of, and I love it very much. But there were things that I thought I was willing to let go of that were really hard to sell. But with Magic, it's been super easy because I'm like, I don't know who Bristly Bill is, but I know that card's worth $30. Let's go. It's more of like it's a non-emotional approach to selling cards. But here's the biggest difference between Pokemon and Magic. Magic is a player's game. People that have Magic cards are typically putting them into the Magic decks. And there's a ton of different formats and ways to play the Magic card game. There's Commander, there's Standard, there's Pauper, there's so many more. And what I've learned about Magic, I've even downloaded Magic the Gathering Arena. I've connected with local card shops in my area, talking about, their Friday Night Magics, their pre-release events, things like that, so that I can get more experience playing the game. And what I will say is I've been playing a mono white deck on Magic the Gathering Arena, just been playing Standard, the competitive game mode. I love the game. It is so much fun. I'm not gonna say it's like better than Pokemon because they're totally different games, but I have so much fun, and it seems like the opportunity to create diverse decks that you don't see all the time is there for anybody that's willing to like really dive in, know the cards, know how they interact with each other. You can get some really crazy interactions there. And I've just really had fun with it, and I plan to keep playing because I feel like the more that I know and feel comfortable with the cards, the better I'm going to be at selling them as well. So Magic is a player's game. What's interesting about that is you're going to pick up a card, right? I don't have a card on me. I should have grabbed one. Let's talk about a card from Final Fantasy. So you're gonna pull a card from a booster pack, and it's gonna be something like the Buster Sword, right, from Final Fantasy. That's Cloud's iconic big sword that he has. Absolutely amazing. And you're gonna look at that card. If you're a Pokemon person, you're gonna be like, "There's nothing special about this card, nothing." But all of a sudden you look, and it's like, that's a $50 card. That is mind-blowing, because in Pokemon, if it's not an alternate art, an IR or an SIR, there's no way you're running into a $50 card. But in Magic, this plain Buster Sword is worth over $50 because it's playable, highly in demand, and a rarer card to pull. And so because of that, people are buying it, not to put it into a binder, but to put it into their decks, y'all. It's this crazy, it's a totally different way of looking at a hobby and a card game. Whereas with Pokemon, when it comes to finding more desirable or higher value cards, you know what you're looking for. You're looking for those full arts. You're looking for the SRs, the SIRs, the IRs. You know exactly how to spot a higher value card. But in Magic, it's different. You have to have some game knowledge. And that's why I would say if you are looking or considering getting into Magic and selling it, you really need to take some time, look up some Magic the Gathering podcasts, YouTube channels, look up people that play the game. One of my favorite podcasts now is the Kitchen Table TCG podcast. I forget what the podcast name is, but the YouTube channel's name is the Kitchen Table TCG. I love their podcast. They talk a lot about Magic, but they also talk about Pokemon as well. And I've just learned so much. I mean, Rudy from Alpha Investments, like his favorite thing, I think, with the card game that got him into everything is Magic the Gathering. And so watching his Magic the Gathering videos have really taught me and given me a respect for Magic the Gathering, its history, and the competitive state that it's in. Anyways, I've just really loved it. But yeah, I'm kind of diversifying my approach to selling cards because, as you can see in my name, this YouTube channel's name, my business name is RAR TCG. I intentionally didn't put Pokey or Pokemon or Piplup TCG, although I did think about that, but I do love Piplup. But listen, I did RAR TCG because I knew from the very beginning that I was going to sell more than Pokemon, but Pokemon is what I know best. It's going to always be the foundation of my business. But in order to grow, to scale, and to really make my dreams a reality, I have to be willing to learn new things, develop new processes, and be strategic with how I'm deploying my capital so that I can continue to grow. But I'm going to end the video there. Thank y'all so much for hanging out today. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video. As always, I appreciate y'all so much, and have a great rest of your day. Peace.